Good morning everybody and welcome back to another trip report. My name is Hugo and today I'm here at Sydney Kingsford Smith International Airport and I'm going to be taking a flight on board one of Qantas' domestic configured A330-200s from here in Sydney on a long haul flight to Singapore. Wasn't supposed to be flying on this aircraft and I don't think it's going to be ideal, but I guess come along and let's find out. I'm here at the international transfer gate because I've got to catch a bus over to Terminal 1. Thank you. Qantas passengers transferring in Sydney from a domestic to an international flight can use their bus service. This is as opposed to taking the T-bus or paying for the train. There's lots of international flights around now, so it's quite busy. The transfer process was busy and a bit chaotic. And once you get to Terminal 1 you have to go through security and immigration, which today was busy and not particularly quick, but not insanely slow. Now we're airside, which is busy as well. Even though travelling in economy, thanks to my Qantas Gold status, I did have access to the Qantas Business Lounge, but after the whole transfer process there wasn't really time, so I just headed to the gate. There's my ride to Singapore. Victor Hotel Echo Bravo Juliet is a 2008 built Airbus A330-200, which was delivered new to Qantas. It was transferred to Jetstar in 2010 before returning to Qantas in 2015. Qantas has 16 Airbus A330-200s in its fleet, of which 8 are in an international configuration and the other 8 are in more of a domestic configuration. And this aircraft is one of the latter. I've flown on one of these planes before, and so I knew that this plane was not ideal for the 7+ hour flight to Singapore. But when I booked this flight, it was supposed to be a flight operated in conjunction with Finnair, which hopefully I will end up getting to try that out, and in that video I can tell you more about that partnership. But Qantas and Finnair have a partnership where Qantas is currently using 2 of Finnair's A330s under a wet lease arrangement to fly between Sydney and Singapore and Sydney and Bangkok. So I believe about 2 and a bit weeks before the flight, I got an email from Qantas saying that there'd been some changes to my flight, and so they basically cancelled my original flight but just replaced it with a different flight at the same time. But this new flight was Qantas operated, as I believe at the moment Finnair is only able to operate a single A330 on behalf of Qantas due to some labour disputes. So on this route I think Qantas was basically just chucking whatever they had on it, which unfortunately the spare aircraft seem to be mostly A330-200s with the domestic configuration, but I think there's been some with the international, some A330-300s, some 787s and some A380s, so their entire wide-body fleet. There was a huge line which went way back into the terminal. I don't think I've ever seen a boarding line this big. There was only one line, no priority. Some staff came down asking for business and first class, which this plane doesn't have first class, and platinum, but I asked about Qantas Gold and the staff member said no, which is odd since that's normally considered priority boarding on Qantas as well.
Morning.
Hi. Good, thanks. Thank you. I did notice that Qantas has added an inbound aircraft location feature to its app. It looks like entry to this gate area is restricted due to upgrades. Boarding started about 18 minutes late. Good morning, how are you?
Well, new today?
Thank you. Welcome on board one of Qantas A330-200s with the domestic configuration, which features 28 Thomson Aero Vantage XL seats in business class in a 1-2-1 configuration across 2 cabins, and then in economy you'll find 243 Recaro seats, which were designed by David Kayon in a 2-4-2 configuration. Economy spread across 2 cabins. These seats on the domestic configured A330-200s don't feature in-flight entertainment screens, which is noticeable when you get on board the aircraft. I heard other passengers talking about it. For a full-service airline on a wide-body plane on a long-haul flight to not have in-flight entertainment screens, that's not common. I did see though that seemingly basically every seat has an iPad waiting in the seat back pocket. Qantas is planning to refurbish 10 of its A330-200s, apparently the ones which operate international flights. I'm not sure exactly which ones. These planes will feature a refurbished economy class cabin with I believe the same seats that will be found on Qantas A350s. So that's great to see as they look like very nice modern seats. The refurbishing process is meant to start this year and is expected to be completed by the end of next year. Anyway, my seat in this not so new economy cabin will be 34A. Waiting for me on my seat is a pair of headphones, a pillow, a bottle of water and a blanket. Now let's take a quick look at the seat features. The legroom was very average for a wide body. Thought it felt like only 30 to 31 inches, but because of the stuff in the seat back pocket, and the double seat back padding, which the latter is great to have, but I think it's supposed to be either 31 or 32 inches. Then there's a pretty standard seat back pocket which contains some literature, and the aforementioned iPad with in-flight entertainment. Then there's a tray table which can be adjusted back and forth but you can't fold it. Also, as mentioned earlier, there's no in-flight entertainment screen, but instead a tablet holder where you can put the iPad or use your own device. There's 2 USB-A charging ports. The seats don't seem to feature coat hooks, but there is an audio entertainment system, where there's some other controls as well, I think. I thought there was universal power sockets, but I guess there's not. There's also some entertainment boxes or something, but there's no entertainment. Anyway, that takes up some foot space. As mentioned, there's double seat back padding and the seat is comfy and there's good width. The seats do feature headrests adjustable both vertically and on the sides.
Free Qantas Entertainment app. Please take the time now to download it via your relevant app store. Once again, if you're travelling in the main cabin today, please ensure that your iPad device is not placed into the seat back holder until after takeoff. Thank you, and once again, welcome on board.
On the flight deck today, we have Captain Philip Campbell, along with Adam, your customer service supervisor, and the crew will be looking after you today. We'd like to welcome back our Qantas and one more frequent flyers, along with our Qantas Business Rewards members on this flight to Singapore. Please place your bags either under the seat in front of you or in the overhead lockers. If you're seated in a bulkhead or in an exit row, all baggage needs to go into the overhead lockers.
It's now time for pushback, about 5 minutes behind schedule. I thought boarding didn't take that long considering everything.
Hi, and welcome to my magic place, Litchfield National Park, just outside of Darwin. We all have a place that fills our heart and makes us feel safe. Give us your attention for the next few minutes and we'll keep you safe on this flight as we journey to the magic places of regular Aussies all around Australia and the world. Welcome to Qantas.
Keep it done up low and tight during takeoff, landing, and whenever the seatbelt sign is on. This includes infants and children. While seated at other time, we recommend...
To remember your nearest exit, count the rows between you and that exit.
Before you get underway, make sure all your bags are in the overhead locker or under the seat in front of you.
Your aircraft is fitted with escape slides and life rafts, which the crew will operate in an emergency. If you need to evacuate, leave all items behind. Slide, leaning forward with your hands on your knees.
Your Qantas magazine is located in your seat pocket.
It's time to get ready for takeoff. Ensure that your seat back is upright and your tray table is stowed. If you're in business, return your seat to the upright or preset recline position and unplug any headsets or cables attached to the seat in front. If you've missed it...
And we hope you get to your magic place again really soon. Thank you for choosing to fly Qantas.
It was funny hearing the safety demonstration with no screen, but I imagine they play it because business class does have entertainment screens. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far and you'd like to see more like it, then please consider liking and subscribing as it would help me and the channel out so much and would be very much appreciated.
Today's Captain Philip Campbell, First Officer Kylie Stewart, and the rest of the crew, we'd like to offer our warm welcome aboard Qantas Flight 81 through to Singapore.
Fairly short taxi this morning, however, we are number 6 in the queue for departure, so there will be a little bit of a delay, unfortunately, but we'll have you airborne as soon as we can. Once we do get airborne, departure to the south, series of right-hand turns, and setting course over the Australian continent. We'll go overhead Alice Springs and across the Australian coastline, just to the north of Broome, around about 4 hours and 20 minutes after departure. Once we're through the Australian continent, overhead Bali and then into Singapore. Weather. Some storms around this morning, expecting to fine up this afternoon. Captain is flying us up there today, so as we approach our top of descent into Singapore, he'll get back to you with some arrival details. In the meantime, we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the in-flight service. Thank you.
Also, feel free to check out my Instagram if you like, at aviation763_, where I post stories of my trips and occasionally just do a regular post. If you don't want to do any of that though, that's completely okay. There were lots of heavies around here at this time. Also, it sounds like this is a full flight. It's now time for takeoff on runway 16 right.
iPads provided in your seat pocket are for use while on board this Qantas aircraft and must not be removed. Please place your iPad in the seat bracket in front of you and connect the cable to the charging outlet. For those customers seated in the front row or exit row, your iPad can be placed in the bracket on your tray table and the charging outlet can be found in the front lower section of your seat. Today we are also travelling on one of our Wi-Fi enabled aircraft. While we are flying over Australia during the first half of the flight, you will be able to access our fast and free Wi-Fi. Once we are no longer over Australia, Wi-Fi won't be available.
Now that we're in the air, let's take a look at the entertainment iPad, which I imagine has the same selection as on the streaming entertainment app. There was a good amount of movies and TV shows, though not amazing, and there was an in-flight map too. This lavatory in the rear galley was quite a good size, but otherwise there was no additional amenities. The crew began in-flight service while I was in the lavatory, so not too long after takeoff. To start, there was a salty snack and a full bar drink service, with spirits, wine, soft drinks, juice and water. The salty snacks were a zesty mix, which I thought were a good portion and tasty. I also got a ginger beer to go with it. I think they eventually ran out of these snacks, and so then were just handing out the soy crisps, or something similar like the ones that Qantas seems to have on most of its flights. Once at cruising altitude, it was quite cold. People were asking to turn up the temperature and for blankets. I later found out that this seemed to only really be a problem in this part of the cabin. The blanket provided is pretty decent, and the pillow is nice and has a proper fabric cover.
Today we have 3 options. All options are hot options. Today we have a beef with mustard gravy, potato mash and roasted vegetables. We have a chicken with sesame, oyster sauce, stir-fried noodles and choy sub. And we also have a vegetable biryani with fried onion and cashews. So once again we have a beef with mustard gravy, chicken with sesame, oyster sauce, stir-fried noodles and choy sub, or a vegetable biryani with fried onions and cashews. Today's main meal will be served with a rosemary and garlic sea salt focaccia, cheese and rice crackers. The main meal will be followed by ice cream, hot beverages, chocolate being Tim Tam today. At this time we ask you to now bring your seat to the fully upright position for the meal service, for the comfort of those around you. If you need anything during the service, please don't hesitate to let us know. Thank you and bon appetit.
About an hour and 15 minutes after takeoff, I noticed the crew come around with some special meals. Now it's time for the main meal service. I went for the chicken with noodles dish for my main, which was served alongside a cutlery packet, some warm focaccia, and I believe this is a recent addition to Qantas in-flight long-haul meals, some cheese and crackers. I also got an orange juice to go with the meal, and that was good. Here's the chicken with noodles dish, which was tasty. It had a nice flavour with a bit of spice. The focaccia was delicious, and the cheese and crackers were good as well. The focaccia aside, the meal service, though tasty, doesn't feel very premium, with there being wooden cutlery and a plastic meal box thing. I don't know what you call it. Anyway, after the main meal service, ice creams were handed out for dessert, with I think it was chocolate salted caramel slice being the flavour. I've had this ice cream before, and once again it was tasty, but a little rich and nothing incredible, but still good. And finally, after dessert, hot drinks and Tim Tams were offered. I got a milk tea to go with the Tim Tam. There seems to be a water station in the middle of the economy cabin, which is nice. The crew set up a basic snack bar sort of thing with a sweet and savoury snack. Around mid-flight, the crew came around and offered the snacks to those who wanted them. Around 2.5 to 3 hours before landing, the crew came around offering water, and they did that a couple more times at least, I think. A bit over 2 hours before landing, the temperature had improved a bit. I don't know what's going on with the landing time on the in-flight entertainment screen. About an hour and 45 minutes prior to landing, I noticed the crew come around with special meals or something. Before landing, a snack was offered, with the options being assorted arancini or assorted steamed mandu. I believe that mandu is a Korean dumpling. I went for that, which was served alongside a cutlery packet, and I also got an apple juice. I believe that the drinks for this service were juice, soft drinks, tea, coffee and alcohol, excluding spirits, but I reckon maybe if you asked nicely you could get spirits. The mundul turned out to be 2 kimchi and 2 pork. They were delicious. I'm surprised at how good they were very yummy.
For our arrival today, it's currently 33 degrees, light winds from the west, and otherwise fairly clear skies. A little bit of weather building up just to the east of the field as we come in, but otherwise it should be fairly fine. At this stage, our indications have us touching down at 4:28 in the afternoon. That's about 20 minutes ahead of schedule, and we should be at the bay not long after that. Once again, on behalf of your Captain Philip Campbell and the entire crew, we appreciate you flying with Qantas, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you and good afternoon.
As we're descending into Singapore, please allow me to conclude this experience with Qantas. The transfer experience was busy, messy and a bit chaotic. It wasn't very quick, but it still could have taken longer, and we made the flight. Boarding was also busy and messy, with a huge line and no priority for Oneworld Sapphire, which was disappointing. I get that the gate area is being renovated, but there must be something else they can do to make it less messy. Once on board, the cabin is frankly not good enough in my opinion for a premium full-service carrier like Qantas. With the legroom being average, no in-flight entertainment screen and no universal power sockets. The double seat back padding and width is good though. But like Singapore Airlines operates planes with in-flight entertainment screens, universal sockets, cup holders, bifoldable tray tables, and stuff like that on this route. At least the amenities waiting on the seats were great for a flight like this. The water bottle's a nice touch. Having partial route-free Wi-Fi in economy is good, though it would have been nice to have it for the remainder. Again, that's something that Singapore Airlines offers. I was happy that at least we all got iPads, which did the job and had a good selection. However, I have not experienced this myself, but I've heard that on some flights, including between Australia and Singapore, sometimes the iPads don't work. But again, I haven't experienced that myself. That would not be ideal if that happened though. It's not ideal in the first place, but still. Also, the entertainment or whatever box limits foot space slightly on my seat, so I imagine other A seats too. My recline wasn't working properly, I don't think. The blanket and pillow are great, and based on the past, the headphones do the job. At least with the device holder, I could use it to watch stuff on my iPad. Quantity-wise, the first service was actually fantastic, and mostly taste-wise too. Getting the salty snack at first was nice, and yeah, it was just quite a comprehensive service, with a great drink selection too, particularly alcoholic drinks. Still though, what it's served in isn't as fantastic. It's not bad, but it doesn't feel premium. The crew were pretty proactive with offering water during the flight, and I appreciated that they brought out snacks. Though I don't think they ever set up a proper snack bar, but there's not really heaps of space. The hot snack service I expected, but it didn't disappoint, and the food was again surprisingly really tasty. The cabin crew were very friendly on this flight. The cabin temperature in this part of the cabin was annoying in the first bit of the flight, but it got better. So overall, this flight hasn't been a nightmare or anything, but it's not good enough in my opinion. Also, I didn't have time in this case, but I know from past experience that the business lounge in Sydney is average, which you have access to with Oneworld Sapphire status. To give credit where credit's due, the cabin crew and in-flight service was great and exceeded my expectations, but the seat and ground experience was not good. For intercontinental flights, it's all good, but for a long-haul flight on a competitive route, it's just not good enough. I understand there are limitations with Sydney Airport, and I know aircraft delivery and supply chain issues, and the Finnair thing isn't Qantas' fault, but come on, it's not cool how common these A330-200s are, the Finnair thing aside, between East Coast Australia and Singapore, particularly between Melbourne and Singapore. Also, some people might struggle to use the iPads. Anyway, if it weren't for the status, I would avoid flying Qantas on the A330-200 from East Coast Australia to Singapore. When Qantas is as expensive as it is, and Singapore Airlines is as reasonably priced as it is often, and with it being as good as it is, I just don't see why this is a good option other than the frequent flyer benefits. Anyway, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Have you flown long haul on one of these A330-200s, and what did you think? Feel free to let me know in the comments. We'll soon pull into the gate about 9 minutes ahead of schedule, but for now, please enjoy the rest of the approach and landing on Singapore Changi International Airport's runway 20 right.
Welcome to Singapore. The local time is 4:35 p.m. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is off. On behalf of all of us here at Qantas and one more, thank you for choosing to fly with us. If you're visiting Singapore, we hope you enjoy your stay, and of course to those returning, welcome home.
I'd like to take this time to thank you all so much for watching this video. I'd also like to thank all of my incredible Patreons for helping to make these videos possible. Their support is truly so much appreciated, and I couldn't do what I do without them, so thank you so much to them. Once again, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you in my next one next Saturday at 5 PM Melbourne time.